Scotus required cases presentation by Giovanna Castro and Denise Ochoa. Marbury versus Madison, 1803. Facts. Marbury sued for his judicial appointment withheld by Madison. Holding. Established judicial review allowing the Supreme Court to declare legislative or executive acts unconstitutional. Reasoning. The Constitution is the supreme law. The judiciary's role includes interpreting it. Decision. Marbury was entitled to his commission, but the court couldn't enforce it. Dissent. There was no dissent. McCulloch versus Maryland, 1819. Facts. Maryland attempted to tax the national bank. Holding. Congress has the power to establish a national bank and states cannot tax it. Reasoning. The necessary and proper clause gives Congress implied powers. Federal laws are supreme over state laws. Decision. Supported federal power over state interference. Dissent. There was no dissent. Schenck versus U.S. 1919. Facts. Schenck's anti-draft pamphlets led to a First Amendment challenge, holding speech creating a clear and present danger isn't protected by the First Amendment. Reasoning. Certain speech is restricted in times of national security. Decision. Upheld Schenck's conviction. Dissent. There was no dissent. Brown versus Board of Education, 1954. Facts. African American students were denied equal access to public schools. Holding. Segregation in public schools based on race violates the Equal Protection Clause. Reasoning. Separate but equal is inherently unequal in public education. Decision. Ended racial segregation in public schools. Dissent. There was no dissent. Baker vs. Carr, 1962. Facts. Citizens challenged Tennessee's legislative redistricting holding. Redistricting, a justiciable issue under the Equal Protection Clause, ensures that the government cannot exempt a race or individual from protections. Reasoning. Court have the authority to address equal representation. Decision. Federal courts can hear redistricting cases. Dissent. Justice Frankfurter argued redistricting was a question. Gideon versus Wainwright, 1963. Facts. Gideon was denied a lawyer because he couldn't afford one. Holding. Right to counsel applies to state felony cases. Reasoning. The Sixth Amendment requires the states to provide counsel in criminal cases. Decision. Requires states to provide lawyers for defendants. Dissent. There was no dissent.
Tinker versus Des Moines, 1969. Facts. Students were suspended for wearing armbands in protest. Holdings. Prohibiting armbands violated students' free speech. Reasoning. Symbolic speech in schools is protected if it doesn't disrupt the school. Decision. Supported students' rights to free expression. Dissent. Justice Black felt it undermines school authority. New York Times Co. versus United States, 1971. Facts. The government tried to prevent the publication of the Pentagon Papers. Holding. Government's attempt at prior restraint violated the First Amendment. Reasoning. Heavy presumption against prior restraint on the press. Decision. Allowed the press to publish classified information. Dissent. Public Justice Blackmun and Harlan cited it's a national security risk. Wisconsin versus Yonder, 1972. Facts. Amish parents challenge compulsory schooling past 8th grade. Holding. Compulsory school past 8th grade violates free exercise clause. Reasoning. Religious beliefs outweighed state interest in mandatory education. Decision. Supported religious freedom over state education. Requirements. Dissent. No full dissent, though Justice Douglas partially dissented on children's rights. Shaw versus Reno, 1993. Facts. North Carolina's redistricting raised racial gerrymandering issues. Holdings. Racial drawn districts are subject to strict scrutiny. Reasoning. Race as a primary factor in redistricting violates equal protection. Decision. Allowed challenges to race balanced redistricting. Dissent. Justice White argued that the redistricting didn't harm anyone's rights. United States versus Lopez, 1995. Facts. Lopez challenged a federal law banning guns in school zones, holding. The law extended Congress's Commerce Clause gives Congress the rights to regulate interstate communication while restricting states from impairing its powers. Reasoning. Carrying guns in school doesn't substantially affect interstate commerce. Decision. Limited Congress under the Commerce Clause. Dissent. Justice Breyer argued gun control affects the community. McDonald versus City of Chicago, 2010. Facts. McDonald challenged Chicago's handgun ban, holding. Second Amendment rights applied to states via the 14th Amendment. Reasoning. The right to bear arms is fundamental for self-defense. Decision. Extended gun rights protection to state and local governments. Dissent. Justice Stevenson argued the Second Amendment shouldn't limit states. Citizens United versus FEC, 2010. Facts. Citizens United argued restriction on political spending violated free speech. Holdings. Corporate political spending is protected speech. Reasoning. Limiting independent expenditures is a prior restraint on speech. Decision. Allowed unlimited independent political spending. Dissent. Justice Stevens argued it undermined democratic processes.